What's up, YouTube? Wolf190D back. Finally finished the main storyline with this Barbarian. So, I think I'm, excuse me, liking the idea here of running through a dungeon before I walk over what's been changed. So, let's get to it. Now, as this build has been progressing, I've been trying to figure out a few things to do and a few things maybe not to do. Like, spending too much time on little groups of guys. And that's where the Deathblow comes in really handy with this. Plus, it's just a way of keeping your Fury really well built out. Those of you that have been running Barbarians know that Fury is very important to keep high. You run out of Fury and it kind of bogs you down. It slows you down, and it just does. So now with these, if you haven't figured out, take out the little crowd leader first. Take out the crowd leader first. And yes, actually, smashing objects while you're en route greatly helps with the Fury maintenance. So yes, be sure if you haven't been in contact for a little while, or combat rather, sorry. If you haven't been in contact for a little while with enemies, just smash a couple crates along the way. And this is a run through the flooded depths, so if you haven't gotten there, you haven't gotten there. Now, why haven't I used my rallying cry yet? Well, again, it has to do with the... Oh, there we go. I just decided to use it there. The reason I'm keeping that rallying cry on standby, crowd control. If you find you're getting frozen or feared or whatever, and you want to quickly run back into combat, it's good to have that on standby simply for the purpose of breaking that. So, let me try to keep the... and see, don't do that with the Deathblow, by the way. I've burned it a little too early, so now we have to... Oh, I forgot. I did find an item recently that increases my chances, or charges of Deathblow. So I do have a backup one. It's kind of a nice thing to have. And there we go, boogered up with the Whirlwind. And I'm going to walk over my stats here, hopefully momentarily. I'm trying to, like I said, get through this fairly quickly. But all in all, it has been a solid build, finishing up the storyline and moving into World Tier 3. Survivability has been improved pretty drastically, actually. Oops, and there we go again. I'm not whittling him down enough. So, I do like the Deathblow with that. I have been sticking with Lunging Strike, and I'm just picking up the yellow items anymore. Also, kind of something that's been going on. Okay.
I'm low on fuel.
And there again, the Whirlwind is great for really, really big crowds. Those of you that have been running the Whirlwind know that it's not so great when you get to a single boss. So things can get a little complicated with that. But there again, run through dungeons if you're running any kind of barbarian. If you're running through the dungeons, get through them, keep your fury up. And that's, again, I have my Deathblow set to where it's generating 20 fury if it hits at least one enemy. And of course, if you get the finishing blow, you reset your cooldown. And again, I have a nifty little item actually that gives me one more stack to the charges on that. So even if I do mess up in a crowd, I can sometimes get a follow-up. I can sometimes get that follow-up hit, and get a follow-up hit, and of course get the refresh on that second charge. Okay. Because I want to move through this. And see. Sometimes it's a trick with the Deathblow. Though, you know, honestly, I'm probably at a point where I don't need to pick up anything but legendary items. And if you're noticing, or if you're wondering why does my Whirlwind Barb take so much time to kill these groups? Well, take a look at your builds. Okay, channeling shrines are actually really nice because then I'll just be able to... Oh, well, that's even better. Okay, ramp up some damage. Maybe go berserk because I'm tired of waiting for this guy. Now, a couple of times getting into World Tier 3, I have, well, maybe not a couple of times, but definitely one time. I have tried going with the Frenzy. You lose too much mobility with it. You lose way too much mobility with it. Okay, check my map. Where else do I need to go? All right. Now, I will be experimenting here in the near future how to further improve dungeon run times. Now, you'll notice the Deathblow, if you get these guys clustered up tight enough with the Deathblow, it does eliminate more than one. It doesn't just hit, it's not just a one-hit wonder. And that's probably another drawback of Frenzy, really, is that it does eliminate, plus the lunging, well, no, sorry, I was on Deathblow. But yes, the Deathblow does eliminate groups if you hit them with it. Now these little guys, can anybody tell me if there's a better way to deal with the ones that have increased health? Other than just chop, chop, chop. crowd control, break crowd controls. Okay. I'm gonna go berserk. And yes, sometimes I do break my Whirlwind simply for the purpose of getting that Deathblow to, again, make sure Fury is ramped up. It's very, very important. I can't stress, I can't stress how important Fury generation really is for your Barbarian builds. Oh, it looks like I'm done with this. So, let's go ahead and leave this dungeon. And actually, I should have just gone back to town. But nonetheless, walk over some of the key stats. Have obviously gotten into Paragon, so that's also going to be something that I'm going to start breaking into. Offer up some of my thoughts, at least early into Paragon. Again, this is going to be my pretty much my main character, and my progressions are going to be based off of that. So. Skills, first and foremost, skills. And I haven't cleaned up all of the renown areas yet, too. So keep in mind, I'm missing still about 3 stat points. I do want to put 2 more into the pressure point. This is going to allow the core skills to have a 30% chance to make enemies vulnerable. You definitely want that. Again, still on the lunging strike, and I have gotten the combat lunging strike. The reason for that is because my weapon technique is set to 2-handed swords, so I'm getting bleed damage no matter what weapon I'm using, and I rather like that. So it allows me to use this, the combat lunging strike, which goes berserk, and of course I'm still using the unconstrained, which any skill that goes berserk gets, or at least berserk's maximum duration is increased by 5 seconds. So yeah, you're pretty well stacking berserk fairly regularly with the way I have this guy set up. Whirlwind, of course, is maxed out, enhanced Whirlwind, and then I do like the violent Whirlwind, which it really, really helps with larger crowds. Your Whirlwind attack does 30% more damage. That's also very, very nice. Rallying Cry, probably the most important war cry on the Barbarians. It gives you more movement speed, gives you more resource generation. And the enhanced Rallying Cry, of course, gives you that unstoppable. So again, when I get into, especially having gotten into World Tier 3, I'm actually liking to save the enhanced Rallying Cry until, especially for the bosses and stuff, because there's starting to be more and more crowd control. So if you save that, it allows you to pop that Rallying Cry in the middle of those combats, if you're frozen, if you're stunned, if you're knocked down, so on and so forth. So it's very, very, I've found it to be pretty effective. And then of course the tactical Rallying Cry, it also allows you to get 20% fury, or 20 fury right off the bat, and then another 20% to your resource generation. That I have off of an item. I don't even use Challenging Shout. The reason for that, yeah, your ability slots are sort of limited. Is there a way to expand those into, say, a 5th one? Can you get a 5th? That might be really nice. That could open up some options, but no, I don't think there is. Warcry, of course, for increased damage output, but also that Berserk ability. It grants you the ability to Berserk. So 4 seconds plus that 5-second cap. So yeah, it allows you to Berserk for a good long time in the middle of combat. This also, your War Shout passives, very, very important. Again, this is probably another thing I'm going to invest into is the 3rd point of Raid Leader, 3% more healing. The 12% damage reduction for 5 seconds is very, very nice. So anytime you cast a Warcry, you get 5 seconds. The enemies get 5 seconds of damage reduction. And of course, Paramount Scowl Shield effect durations are increased by 24%. So you get longer ability to do more damage. You get longer ability, particularly to remain unstoppable, but also generate more fury. Again, paramount. Resource generation is very, very important. Also, passives, Berserk passives, because this is a build that utilizes Berserk pretty effectively. So the damage reduction I haven't felt is as important. It's nice, but the big thing is while berserking, another 18% to your fury generation. Very, very good. Very, very nice. I do have 3 points into Pit Fighter. I'm trying to get into the No Mercy, and I don't know if I'll be able to. It would be very nice to have, because the hamstring is giving you bleeding effects, slow enemies by 30%. Maybe I could reallocate some points from that, because I'm not really worried about the 30% slow. It would be nice to have 6% increased critical strike chance against slowed enemies. That might be very nice. But also the Deathblow. Deathblow is going to have, and I'm actually using this not so much as a crowd clearing thing. I mean, it works as such. It works very well as such, especially against the smaller minions. But the big thing is the Fury generation. As you can see, if Deathblow damages at least one enemy, gain 20 Fury. I could switch this over to the Berserking, but I'm really liking to use it for additional Fury supplementation. So if you're finding yourself Fury starved, might be a good idea to look at. Timing is going to be very, very key, though. Remember, it has a very long cooldown. I think before you get any modifiers and things like that, the cooldown is something like 14.5 seconds or something along those lines. It's a very, very long cooldown. So be sure you're timing it and using it on enemies that are pretty close to death. It does do a lot of damage, as you can see, 6,600 damage, which I guess isn't fantastic against bosses or much more elite enemies. There you go. But it does give you that extra fury bump, and I mean, it's doing double damage to bosses too. So yeah, it does do a lot of damage. But be sure you're timing it. If you choose this option, be sure you are timing that to finish. Use it as a finisher move, because then the charge is refunded. You can use it again and again and again and again. It works great for clearing out the little minions, and like I said, it helps to maintain that fury level as you're running in, as you're pushing into dungeons. Using Berserk, or Wrath of the Berserker rather. And I do have the other two skills. So while Wrath of the Berserker active, every 50 Fury you spend, it increases Berserk's damage bonus, which is very, very nice, especially as you're whirlwinding through mobs of elites and things of that nature. But also more movement speed and more Fury generation, which is very, very also very tasty on this particular build. And then for the passives over here, I have one into Tempered Fury, increase max Fury by 3. I'm not finding too terribly often that as long as I'm moving through mobs of groups, I'm finding that I'm not having trouble maintaining maximum Fury. But also, for every 100 Fury spent, you're going to want the Invigorating Fury, because it's also going to give you much better survivability. You'll notice that I don't have anything invested into Imposing Presence or Martial Vigor, sorry. And again, I'm still going to continue toying with this and tweaking this to see if I can't get anything better. I do want to get that 30% chance for Whirlwind to make enemies vulnerable, though, because, hey, vulnerable enemies take more damage, you clear them out faster, and you can move on to the next mob of Hellspawn. And, of course, I am going to want one more point of Raid Leader, and I think, as I'm looking at what I have left available for skill points, if I clear the rest of the areas and get all the skill points out of that, I think I only have 3 more. So I might try to further refine some of these passives later. I don't think I'm going to want to reduce the shout skill durations. That's probably going to kind of be a no-no. And again, shout activity is very, very important to barbarians. Now, I have seen guys also investing into challenging shout, but for that to work, you would have to find an alternative source of Fury generation. So perhaps an item might alleviate that issue. But this does work very well. I have used it in the past. It does work very well. It does give you a rather nice damage reduction, right? And there again, keep in mind, as that's active, you're also, as you activate that, you're also reducing damage further with Guttural Yell, and you're increasing healing with Raid Leader. So those are things to consider. Oh, and Challenging Shout also gives you added maximum life. That's nice. and you could do tactical challenging shout, but that's 3 fury every time you take damage, and I'm not sure how that scales. Does it go by 3, so would it be 9 fury each time you take damage? That could be nice. That could be a solid alternative as well. But I'm really liking the Deathblow, not only because it's great for generating fury, but also you're clearing out those minions that much faster. Instead of spending 2 extra seconds to whirlwind through a group of minions, you whirlwind through them and get them low enough, and then just bam, bam, bam with the Deathblow. They're cleared out. They can't do damage to you if they're dead. So there is that. Moving into the Paragon tree, I'm not terribly far into the Paragon tree, and I might be making a mistake grabbing both of these rare nodes. However, I did find a glyph that helps out with increased damage while wielding 2-handed weapons. And actually, I was using this one for an axe. Let's see here. That would be Cleaver, I do believe it was called. Yes, Cleaver. I was using Cleaver. So for every 5 strength purchased within range, you deal 1.3% increased damage while wielding an axe. Okay, that's great. It was working very well, but then I found this might, and I said, let's give it a try. So it grants 25% bonus to all magic nodes. So you'll notice that I'm getting additional physical damage and additional armor, and that's because magic nodes, right? Magic nodes. I don't know if that affects the rare nodes or not. It doesn't appear to, actually, which is interesting, which might make me want to rethink what's going on over here, which would probably make me actually want to drop the Iron Strength. But anyway, I decided to go for damage, up the damage line off the first node. So strength, willpower is actually really good for your barbarians too, because again, that's going to be increased fury generation, right? Remember, willpower on the barbs does increase your resource generation. It also improves your healing and overpower damage, which if you're building a Hammer of the Ancients build, you probably are going to want more overpower. But for any barb build, the resource generation is going to be pretty important. So I don't recommend overlooking resource generation, right? And just, yeah, that's where I'm at right now. As you can see, I'm almost to the board attachment gate, which is going to do this and this, which is probably, and I'm looking at this and I'm saying, well, that's going to allow me to remove this strength node, because I was really at this point I'm trying to maintain that plus 40 strength so that I get the additional bonus off of these glyphs. Deal 8% increased damage while wielding 2-handed weapons, which is very nice, but also it's a 25% bonus to all magic nodes in range. So that's going to give you, it's going to give you bonuses. I mean, magic node. So increased armor, 12%, plus 12, well, not 12%, it's plus 12 more armor, which, okay, that's maybe not a lot, but it could be a whole nother percentage point or two on your damage reduction. So it's a thought there. And then, of course, the 1.2% more physical damage. So instead of just doing 5% physical damage, we're doing 6.3. I think that's a 5%. Yes, 5% to 6.3. So there's that. Plus any 2-handed weapon I use. So, if Deathblow is using your mace, it's going to give you 8% more damage. If your Whirlwind is using a sword, or any of your primary skills, really, your Deathblow, your Whirlwind, if you're using a 2-handed weapon, 8% increased damage. Whereas with Cleaver, it was a really good bonus to axes and axes alone, which there are reasons actually for focusing on axes. And I think I'm still rather torn on this. Do I want to continue using this and have my Whirlwind using a 2-handed axe while at the same time using the 2-handed sword technique to keep that bleed damage going? It's a thought. But anyway, thanks for watching, YouTube. As always, please be sure to like and subscribe. And I would like a conversation going. Let's get a conversation going. Please feel free to leave some comments. I'd like to hear from you guys out there. Until next time.